Good afternoon. Today we will be forging a knife out of rebar. For those who remember my episode, Smoking a Chat, when we were asking about blacksmithing and all this, I don't know, I'm going to rewatch that episode, but I told him the best place to start is where you began. And the first thing I forged was a knife, so I'm going to show you how I did that. Hopefully a lot better than I've done previously. Because if you saw the Tex-Mex stew and coffee eggs, I show you the first knife I forged, and even though it was good, I'm now confident enough that I can do better. So, let's get started. Alright, first thing, this is my forge. As you can see, it's a lawnmower bed and there's charcoal in it. Now, a lot of people use propane heat because it burns quicker, it gets hotter, but it's also a very wet heat. Well, charcoal is a dry heat, which makes forge welding easier. So I got my charcoal, got my bellows, my hammer's over there. Alright, once that gets up, we will, oh yeah, my material, right here. Simple piece of rebar. It's a half inch by 36 inches. So half by 3 feet. There we go. Now we just gotta wait for it to get hot enough. But while we're doing that, let's insert an end. Come on. Good. Alright. See you in a bit when it's ready to forge. Alright, so to help hold the rebar down and also bring it up to temperature, as you can see, I've put some wood there. And now I'm going to use my bellows, just so I can keep my embers hot, and that should set the wood alight, which will in turn keep the charcoals alight. As you can see, I clearly got the fire going. Now I'm just going to look. You want to make sure you put your material, or at least in my experience, it's like 7 chefs. Yes, 7 chefs making one kind of soup. You get the same kind of soup, different kinds, 7 different ways. Say, I want chicken noodle. Well, they might use elbow noodles instead of angel hair. They might use ribbon noodles. They might use tofu. They might add vegetables. They might not salt the broth, or they might over salt the broth. And that's the whole point of the analogy. I'm getting the soup I asked for, I'm just getting it in a different way. And that's kind of what's going on here. Like I said, with a propane forge, it shoots heat in one direction, so you just insert your material there and you know it's going to heat up. This, on the other hand, is a little different because it's not an actual forge, it's rigged. So I gotta make sure I put my material in the place where it's going to be hottest if I want it to heat up quicker. Alright, I see the center where it's going to be the hottest. Add some air. And this too will still take a while, so I will see you in a bit. When I started, it was 3:30. It is now almost 4 o'clock, so it took me half an hour to get to this point. The prices we pay for our crafts. Alright, as you can see, it's clearly burning well enough on its own. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take all my hot coals that are gathered up on the side and push it to the center. That way it's all in one central point. That way my material can gather up all that heat. And you'll notice as it's getting hot, it will smell like hot metal, which obviously, right? Let's check it out. Alright, so as you can see, well maybe not, but I can see it. It's starting to glow. When it's a cherry red is when you can start forging it, but I like it to be an orange. And now that that by itself is not exactly a very good explanation, because cherry red to me may not be cherry red to you. What I call cherry red, you might call crimson red, or you might call madder red. Though we agree it's a form of red, we just can't agree on the shade of red. So essentially when it's red, you can start forging, but you can forge longer if it's an orange or a yellow. So that's what I like to do. So I'm going to get my bellows back on it. I'm aiming right for the center, because that's where I have the most coals gathered up. Got a few escaping. What separates charcoal from wood is wood likes to escape, where charcoal generally tends... Okay, wood likes to pop. That's what I'm trying to say. Wood likes to pop. Charcoal generally likes just to break apart. So, now that that's all gathered up, I'll get back to it. Since I started this, I've already used half a bag of charcoal. So this is actually a very resource-consuming project right now. Okay, so it's at temperature to forge. I'm going to pull it out real quick. I've got thermal bellow pumps. Now, the type of hammer you can use varies. You can use a 4-pound sledge, a 3-pound peen, or if you want, you can use a 1.5-pound ball peen. The idea is you're going to use a tool that you're comfortable with using, but there are also reasons why there are certain tools. You would use the ball part of a ball peen to make the material spread out in all directions, or with a cross peen, you'd use the cross part to spread out one direction. Alright, so as I put it on the anvil, it's going to take away the heat. In between each strike, I'm going to rotate it over so it's the same amount of strikes so that it remains nice and even. As you can see, quickly went from that orange color almost back to its original color, which means I need to put it back in and get it hot again. I'm going to repeat this process several times, but as you see between each strike, I flipped it over. I didn't do that with my first knife, and that's why it's not even, but also I'm not exactly doing it right either. The anvil is a lot lower to the ground than I am. That's why I'm striking it. You more or less want to kind of go at an angle. You want to hit and bounce up. I mean, at least that's what I was told. One of my friends, he's also a smith. This is what he does, but he makes leaves and tools. I do blades. Alright, so I'll see you in a bit. I need to get this back up to heat. When it's almost done, I'll bring you back. Alright, so I'm not at the point I need to be, but I'm going to show you how I establish my tip. Hold up at the anvil. And flying back out a bit. As you can see, it is starting to point out. I'm just going to continue that a couple more times, and I'll bring it back. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, as you can see, I have the tip roughly forwarded out. The blade is relatively flat. Problem is, I ran out of fuel, so I'm going to have to continue this tomorrow, and I'll update you then. But because it's still hot, alright, buy some more coal tomorrow, well, charcoal, and we'll finish it then.